If you're in government contracting, you know the drill. The federal market is one of the biggest, most valuable games in town, but it's got this one, let's call it a feature, predictable unpredictability. And nothing, I mean nothing, screams chaos quite like a government shutdown. So today, as part of Aliff Capital's educational series, we're not just going to talk about the problem. Nope, we're handing you the playbook to turn all that instability into your winning advantage. And let me tell you, that's not an exaggeration. When the government shuts its doors, it's not just a headline on the news. For us, it's a full-blown paralysis of the entire industry. You've got stop work orders flying out, payments frozen solid, and your contracting officers, well, they've gone completely silent. It's a crisis that can seriously push even the most solid companies right to the edge. Okay, so let's really get into the weeds here. To understand what's at stake, we're going to look at a potential future scenario, a hypothetical 2025 shutdown. Because based on the way things are trending, a shutdown like this wouldn't just be another bump in the road. Oh no. It would set a brand new and frankly dangerous precedent for the entire GOVCON world. 28 days. Just let that sink in for a second. That's almost a whole month with the government's lights off. For a contractor, that isn't just a long time, it's an eternity. That kind of duration creates a level of financial pain that catches everyone off guard, as your cash reserves start to dwindle and your credit lines get stretched to the absolute breaking point. Now, think about this number. Almost 1 million federal workers told they're not allowed to work. These aren't just statistics, right? These are your partners, the contracting officers who sign the checks, the folks who accept your work, the program managers who give you direction. Poof, they're gone overnight, legally barred from even answering an email. And the economic ripple effect? It's staggering. Just look at the shorter, partial shutdown back in 2018. That wiped out $11 billion from the economy. In a full shutdown scenario, a huge piece of that damage comes directly from our world. Frozen contracts, projects that are dead in the water, and a complete halt to the flow of money. The impact would be much, much worse. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. This shows you why a full shutdown would be a totally different animal. We'd go from partial to full shutdown. The military might not even get paid. But look at that last row, the threat of permanent reductions in force, or RIFs. You know what? That one thing changes the entire game. So the big question is, why are government contractors so incredibly vulnerable during all of this? Well, the tough answer is that the system, it's almost designed to take the risk of political squabbling in Washington and drop it right onto your company's bottom line. And it really all boils down to this one key term, incrementally funded contracts. These are the absolute backbone of almost every big, long-term government project. Think of it like this: the government gives you money for your work in chunks, and a tiny clause says they're only responsible for the chunk they've already given you. So when the next chunk of funding doesn't show up, their obligation to pay you just vanishes. And this right here, this is the brutal chain reaction. It's a domino effect, right? A political failure on Capitol Hill means your funding well runs dry. Then, the federal acquisition regulation literally, legally forces you to stop work. And just like that, boom, your entire revenue pipeline is frozen solid. It's a direct line from a vote in Congress straight to your cash flow. Which brings us back to that terrifying new variable we talked about, the RIFs. See, in the past, furloughs were always temporary. You knew your government partners, your contacts, they were eventually coming back. But with a RIF directive, agencies were told to think about permanent layoffs. This isn't just about your project being delayed anymore. It's about the potential for your key government contacts, all that institutional knowledge, to be gone. For good. Okay, let's pivot. We've laid out the chaos, the financial pain, the paralysis, the scary new threats. It's a pretty grim picture, I know. But here's the thing. Shutdowns are just part of the landscape now. So the real question becomes, how do you stop just surviving them and start building a business that actually thrives in this kind of environment? This is the question that every single GOVCON leader needs to be asking themselves. When your number one customer can just decide to turn off the money faucet without warning, how in the world do you build a stable, growing business? How do you win when the rules of the game can change in an instant? So here's the big takeaway. Winning in this new normal, it isn't about luck. It's not about just hoping you can weather the storm better than the next guy. It's about having a superior process, a methodology that's specifically designed to insulate you from the chaos and put you in a position to win no matter what the political climate looks like. Look, everybody is talking about AI and proposal writing. And yeah, it's a powerful tool for getting things done fast and checking basic boxes. But here's the trap. It creates a sea of sameness. When everyone's using the same tools, you get proposals that all look and sound, well, the same. The real winning edge comes from layering human expertise right on top, using AI for its precision, but relying on humans for strategy, for nuance, and for telling a story that actually connects. And we are not just talking about hiring a writer. Winning in this space requires a full-blown business development team. You need a technical expert who actually understands the solution, a pricing analyst to make sure you're competitive, a compliance expert so you don't get tossed out on a technicality, and a designer to make it all pop. It's an entire team with one single focus, winning that contract for you. And that whole team approach is built around this incredibly rigorous 3-stage quality process. The pink gate makes sure the foundation is solid and totally compliant. The red gate, that's our secret sauce. That's an adversarial reveal where our team pretends to be the government evaluator and tries to poke every single hole they can in the proposal. Then finally, the gold gate is that last executive polish. This system is literally engineered to find and kill errors and get you the highest possible score. Now, this all sounds great in theory, right? But does it actually work in the real world? Let's look at the performance data. Because in this business, let's be honest, results are the only thing that really matters. And the data, well, it tells a pretty clear story. The industry is just drowning in these massive rejection rates. Think of all that wasted time and money. Our process, on the other hand, delivers a 22% win rate. That's a whopping 47% higher than the struggling industry average. It's proof that a better process leads directly to better, more predictable wins. You know, a huge part of building a resilient business is diversification. You simply cannot have all your eggs in the federal basket anymore. True stability comes from having expertise at every level of government: federal, state, municipal, even institutional contracts. This lets you pivot to where the opportunities are and protects you from a shutdown in any one sector. And here it is, the ultimate proof. Over $47 million in contracts secured for our clients. That's not just a number on a slide. That represents real, tangible revenue that lets businesses just like yours grow, hire new people, and actually thrive, even when the market is completely unpredictable. So this all comes back to you. Knowing the threat exists is one thing, but knowing how your specific company is ready to face it, that's something else entirely. Are you really, truly ready to compete and win in this new, unstable world? The absolute best way to start is with a totally honest assessment of exactly where you stand. And that's why the first step in our process is something we call a readiness audit. It's a completely free, no-obligation way to get an expert to analyze your compliance gaps, your strategic strengths, and your overall readiness to win. It's all about getting total clarity before you spend another dime on your next bid. And that really brings us to the final question I want to leave you with. This isn't about the cost of getting help. It's about the cost of not winning. Just think about it. The time, the salaries, the resources. What is the true cost to your business of pouring all of that into your next proposal only to have it fail?